So I'm going to talk about how ALM is shifting from brand to audience selling. For those of you who don't know who ALM is a B2B publisher. We serve the legal markets, financial advisory industry, insurance, real estate, and consulting industries. That basically means we produce newspapers, magazines, events, we sell books. We do all the things that you would think of for as a traditional media company. That's what we do. Everyone's talking about becoming a digital-first publisher. But when they talk about being a digital-first publisher, what they're really talking about, most of them, not us, is about how to get digital with the content. But what they're not talking about is how to monetize that audience. So our history, as I said, we've been around 165 years. We've got about 26 different newspapers within the legal industry alone. So remember, with multiple markets. Each of these individual brands each have their own audiences. And it worked really, really well for hundreds of years. Right? That world has changed. And these tiny little audiences that we would deliver newspapers where we would send a community are no longer basically large enough to serve our advertisers' needs. So we need to think about ourselves in a world without the brand. And we need to focus instead, as publishers, on basically thinking about the world of the audience. And when we think about audience, we need a way to bring the audience together. We need to think about the audience in scale. Because our competitors today are no longer smaller newspapers or the like. They are Facebook, they are Google, and similar like companies, LinkedIn, et cetera. So how do you do that? I'm going to talk about 4 key things we did. First thing you have to do is if you've got a lot of different brands or a lot of different websites and the like, you've got to bring them together under a uniform taxonomy. You've got to develop the parent-child, grandchild, grandparent relationships so they can talk to each other. So you can look at your audiences the same regardless of where they are on your websites, apps, or the like. The second we found is we wanted to bring our platform consolidation, having them all in one CMS or some way to bring that content together. Third, for us at least, is registration. Registration gives you additional information that you wouldn't otherwise have, and it's another level of kind of data mining that goes beyond what you would get by just putting the cookie on them. And finally, in this kind of transformation of our model was Tealium. And I don't say that lightly, because there are many pieces to the stack, but Tealium was a piece we were missing, and how Audience Stream basically brought us the real solution to bringing ROI against this data, because big data that everyone talks about is big. There's too much of it. We have to be able to normalize it, we have to be able to think about it, we have to be able to bring it together in a way that really is smart. So how do you do that? Well, you build out a data ecosystem. This is what ours looks like. We've got e-commerce solutions. We've got registration. We've got data coming from advertising, from OAS. We have data coming from the events that we hold. Take all that data and bring it into one MDM, one master database management system. From there, we append data to it, and we enrich it utilizing Umble. And then taking that, we give it over to Tealium. Tealium is really kind of the center point of all this. It really is an important part of our ecosystem as far as delivering value off of that data. Because what we're able to do with the Tealium is begin to create cohorts of people that we understand, track their behavior, and put them together into groups. And then we take that information and we apply it out onto our email marketing campaigns. We apply it out into our tagging for advertising tagging. And we can put it into a lot of other places in our BI report and the like to get a better understanding and intelligence about our audience that we can sell and monetize. So let me show you what I mean. What do I mean by audience targeting? How does all this work? We take our taxonomy, we tag all of our articles, but we then go back and say anyone who's read 3, 5 articles, you can define it, in a period of time, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, we're going to put them into a cohort. And we tag them into a group, and then we pass that over to our MDM, and it's sitting there. And then we share that information out with our ad serving capabilities, with our email targeting, and we can also do it in third parties in Google. So real life example. This was an event we held. It's an ALM event, Crisis Strategy Summit for in-house and outside counsel. What we do is we go into our audience database and we look at and we say, let's pull from our list all the in-house counsel that live in this particular region and geographic area. That was 22,000 names. We emailed them out. We had a 15% open rate, 0.24% click-through. Led to 52 leads. Then we went back and we leveraged Tealium. And we said, wait a second. What is this event about? This event is about cybersecurity, it's about privacy, and we went back to our taxonomy and said, let's look at people who read at least 3 articles against this taxonomy item and target them. That turned out to be about 3,000 folks. Not the same folks, by the way. We then sent the message out to them. That led to 56 leads, 4 more leads with what is effectively a fraction of the number, almost 700% more effective by being able to do audience targeting. This scales. It scales massively, and it helps out tremendously. In October 13, we were sending 1.5 pieces of mail out. Now we're sending half that, 700,000. And with that same 700,000, we're getting just as many clicks, actually a little bit more. So we have a much higher ROI, much more effective. So where do we go next? Well, we're going to continue to do this. We're going to optimize this across the entire company, scale it out, and we're going to improve our ROI and get to a cost per lead. We're also going to evolve, and this is what I was saying before, how we sell. And this is a fundamental. Most buyers are used to buying on a CPM basis, and publishers want to sell on a CPM basis. They don't want to be responsible for the actual leads. So I think we're going to change the way with publishers are kind of interacting with their audiences and with their marketers. Third, big data is not just about marketing. It's also about everything else we're doing. I won't go into details here, but the basic idea is predictive analytics and being able to use all this data and information to adapt what you're reading every day. Because the challenge of publishers is about content surfacing, getting you the right content at the right time. Leave me with a couple of last thoughts. For me, I believe data is our future for all organizations. Your world is adapting and changing very fast, and the data is going to help them to deliver new ROIs they could not have imagined and reach out to new audiences. They need to understand it, and they need to understand it because it can be very expensive. Now, I use the word can be expensive. For us, it wasn't. Partially thanks to Tealium, partially thanks to how we did that. You need to make smart choices as you look at your stack and you look at who you're going to use. Thirdly, you need to understand this is not a one-time investment. It's not a one and done. You're going to keep investing in this because, again, if it is your future, you should be investing in it.